welcome to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor, and I continue to be busy. I'm currently, so I've got my laptop right here to record, and then right beside me, I have two crafts that I'm working on in simultaneously because while paint dries, I'm making earrings because I'm crazy. So, kind of cute earrings. They'll be on my Etsy. And the other thing that I'm painting is I'm making a gnome. And so I knitted a little hat for those of you who are looking at the video, or if you're not right now, you can later. I knitted a little gnome hat, which I'm showing on the camera. And I may or may not fold it up like that. Okay, so I made a little gnome hat. And then I'm using, I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, I feel like I might have. I'm using the scoop and the lid of a collagen container to make the head and the arms and the beard. So I will show just the partially done. It's glued together, and now I'm painting layers and layers on the plastic, and then I'll seal it afterwards and put the hat on. So if you're looking at the camera, you might be able to, or the screen, you might be able to envision this gnome that I have in my mind. So that's the other craft that I'm doing, and I'll show you the earring that I just made. So that's it's a dangly and it's like a silver kind of thing. And then if you turn it to the side, there's a little elephant on it. They're super cute. And you know what I made it out of? This metal part is actually part of a bracelet. And there were four of them that were elastic together to make a silver bracelet. So I took it apart and I'm like, that would be a cute dangly earring. So I don't know. That's just me. That's what's happening. So I believe you like elephants, if I'm not mistaken. So I would reserve some elephant earrings for you if you want. Okay, so what is our topic today? So today we are on now the fifth stage of acceptance. I don't know about you, but I enjoy doing series because I don't know, it brings home the whole concept of the acceptance. Like, I think it's fascinating to me that we've made a week out of just talking about the process of accepting something. And I think that you could talk about it for a month because that's how hard it is to accept things that we cannot change. We've got the serenity prayer that I have behind me on my wall. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So this is just that first part. This is the acceptance part. And that prayer makes it seem so simple, and it's just freaking not, or if it was simple, it wouldn't take me 4 years to accept what's going on with me, my disability, and to accept my alcoholism. It took me a long, long time to accept that I can't drink and I never will be able to drink like a normal human being, like a normal human being. And it just takes time to let go of the way we wanted things to be in our life. So now we're at, oh my gosh, I'm going to recap. Good luck, Rach. So let's see, what we started out with for the acceptance framework is we started out with fine. And this is when we say we're fine, but we're not fine. And then we went to focus. And that's when when we're willing to say, I'm not fine, then it hits us like a freaking freight train, that the reality. And that's what happens to me. And it continues to happen. It's not a one-time deal for me, which means that this process of acceptance, we're talking about it for a week, and then I have to go through it, sometimes on a daily basis, to accept that, okay, today's another day. I'm going to have to do it again. Sometimes I have to go through the process of acceptance every freaking day. Um, so the second stage focus is where we're like, okay, okay, this is what's actually happening. And we reach out to one person and share that. And then stage three is friction, and that's taming those emotions that start holding us back from making progress. That's the emotional wake that follows when reality snaps into focus in stage two. And then in the third stage, we talked about framework. I'm trying to scroll my screen and look to the side at the same time and keep talking. So in stage four, and I realized last night when I was listening back to yesterday's episode that I messed this whole recap up. Like yesterday, I was saying stage three for stage four and whatever. You know what I'm talking about. This is good exercise. So stage four was framework, and that's when we, along with our support network, we come up with a plan. So we've already reached out to our one trusted person, and then we start talking about our feelings. We name our feelings, and then we start coming up with a plan. And a great person, if you're in sobriety, to talk about that plan is your sponsor. And if you are not in sobriety and you are in recovery from some life health event, or if you're just freaking trying to accept that your boss fired you, or your boss's boss fired him or her, whatever you've got to accept, like you can reach out to a trusted person. It might be your spouse or a friend or a family member, and come up with like, what resources do I have to help me through this? And I'm telling you, like, I get so emotional. That part about naming the emotions is so important, because when I get so emotional, my mind just shuts down and I can't think clearly. So having somebody else to talk about what are the resources that I have, and talk through like that anxiety and fear and embarrassment and whatever it is that you're dealing with. Then we get to practice. So stage five is flex. This is where we are rewiring our confidence through practice. So this is when we're rebuilding the confidence in that we can function in this new uncertainty. So this is where we stop avoiding whatever it is that we have not been accepting and that we're in denial about, and start engaging with it, like gently letting yourself live with it, whatever that looks like for you. Being consistent, sticking to the plan, being accountable, like I talked about in stage four, being accountable with that person that you're working with to carry out the plan. So, taking on these challenges with micro goals, something small, like for me, it's crossing a parking lot. So whenever I'm going to cross a parking lot, I need to hold on to my husband's arm or touch his arm, whatever I need to do. And I need to practice it so that it becomes less scary, less silly, because that's what it ends up being when I start practicing and rewiring my confidence. When I look back at the emotions that I felt before I started carrying out that plan, I can look back at my own behavior, my own feelings and emotions and think, well, that was silly. That was silly. Why don't I just have an excuse to reach out and touch my husband, you know? So, then as we practice these micro goals, then we can implement bigger goals. Like for me, maybe navigating a busy intersection, not being embarrassed or fearful of holding on to someone to cross a busy intersection. So um, each time we practice this, it sends a message to our brain that I can do this. I can function in this new normal. This is manageable. And with these repetitions, they're like push-ups for your brain. And it's like it's using that neuroplasticity that I've talked about so many times in stroke recovery. And that confidence is built by repeating, repeating, repeating. And if we're patient with ourselves and we have the support that we need, we can do it. I feel like my allergies are just hitting. I was outside cleaning off the deck with a hose and it just hit me. You know that pollen in the back of your nose feeling? That's what I have right now. So support systems are key, and whether it is a therapist or a partner that you go walking with, I know a lot of women particularly like to pick a walking partner. So that's a great way to walk every day and talk with this person, anything that's repetitive and consistent. So our brain learns that I'm comfortable, I'm safe, and then when we can talk with our support person, we get that encouragement, that feedback. We put a star on our mirror, if you will. So yeah, I think that let's see what else I had. I feel like I just covered the whole thing in a quick summary. So, let's see. Anything else I didn't cover? I don't usually do this, but you guys love me, so just hold tight. Yeah, one thing I didn't talk about is when we're going through these micro goals and we might feel, it's okay to go through the micro goals and feel scared, and feel those emotions because like I mentioned, this process doesn't make the feelings go away. You're still, courage is not being scared, it's doing despite the feeling of being scared. And that's what this is. That's what acceptance is for me. It's acting as if. So it's like putting a smile on your face and a smile on the inside will follow. If I do the action and I practice it and I display confidence to whoever I'm with or to myself, most importantly to myself, stand up tall and have that power posture and have a repeated phrase that you have in your mind or something like that. Visualize yourself doing whatever it is, doing the thing, and see yourself succeeding, even if it is one of those tiny micro goals. Those reaffirming, um, reaffirming phrases are subtle cues to calm your nervous system down, like telling yourself it's going to be okay. Even if you don't believe it, you just say it, and it follows. So I've if there's one thing I have learned a lot in sorry, sobriety is to do the action, and then the feeling can come later. It's do it anyway, do the next right thing, all of that, take the action, and my heart will follow. It happens for me. It absolutely happens for me. So even if it's this whole acceptance thing, I'm visualizing being okay with XYZ, whatever it is that I'm trying to accept. I'm going to visualize that I'm living my life accepting whatever it is, and giving myself these anchor phrases that calm me down, even when I'm not sure, even if I don't believe what I'm telling myself. Um, it is going to help you move forward. It is progress, and progress is almost hard to see sometimes. You might miss it. Re- Depending on what it is that you're trying to accept and what it is that you're setting micro goals for, you can record it, like write it down, take some notes every day if you want to. When I was, I guess last year, mostly last year and the year before, I had lots of times where I was recording in a notebook how I was feeling and all of my symptoms and stuff, and writing down what was my activity. Like there was a time when I wrote down each activity, hour per hour, minute by minute, everything that I did, how long I did it, and I had to rate my pain. And that whole process was really helping me accept what was happening. It helped me understand what was happening, and then in turn, knowledge is power. So I began to understand how I can live like that. It made the uncertainty not so uncertain. So I got to the point where I knew if I walk Autumn around the block, I'm going to feel like this, and then I'm going to go lay down. And it's so much easier to accept that when you know what's going to happen. For so long throughout the past 4 years, I had no freaking idea what was ahead of me. Um, I really struggled with the inability to plan my life around my disability, around not having a job. Like I didn't know what the future held for me. And through working with a therapist, doing a lot of activity recording, doing a lot of support groups and stuff like that, the uncertainty started to become familiar. And I liken it to really walking into a new job for the first time. I'll never forget walking into the first day at my last job and going to an all hands meeting, and it was in the technical space. So the president was standing up in front of the company, and it was like he was speaking another language, like all these acronyms and stuff. I had no idea what he was talking about. I might as well have been in another country and they were all speaking another language, because I did not understand what they were talking about. And that is, and eventually, I sat there on that day, and I thought one day I'm going to understand all of this. I had confidence that I was going to, and I said to myself, one day I'm going to sit in that president's office and I'm going to talk to him about corporate strategy. And that is exactly what happened. And I I'm amazed that I was able to make that happen, because I made that happen. They absolutely gave me opportunity to make that happen, but by believing it, um, I could do it. And that's a part of this acceptance and the anchor phrases like, I can do this, the visualization, I see myself succeeding, um, all of that stuff. So, wow. I mean, I'm just reflecting right now on how far I've come and how similar this experience with my disability and my experience with my sobriety, like all of that stuff and being right on the brink of the unknown, like knocking at the door of my future that was completely unknown. And now I'm walking on the path. And sometimes, some days, I just had to take a step without knowing if the ground was underneath my feet. And that's where faith came in. So keep walking, you know? So every time I practice taking a step, that repetition was rewiring my brain and making me comfortable in the uncomfortable until the uncomfortable becomes comfortable, you know? So that's what I've got. And I feel good. This is why I like to do this podcast because some days I feel really good and rewarded that I can look back and think, man, I've come a long way. And some of you have been listening to this since the very, very beginning, since that first day that I just hit record and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. My dog was barking. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to save my life. That's what I felt like. And I have. And I'm still walking and I'm really proud of myself. So, um, your challenge today is to look at your life and what you have been encountering and what you've been um, going through and recognize that you've done it. You're doing it. You're already doing it. It's scary, and the feelings are what makes us human. The feelings aren't the stuff that we need to avoid. It's what we need to process. Feelings are just things we have to process, and we keep living anyway. And one guarantee is that there's always another side to the challenge that's in front of us. It's scary, but it's doable. And it's absolutely doable with a little support. So reach out to a friend today and set a timer, like do whatever you have to do to keep making that progress. And once you begin practicing consistently, that effort becomes a rhythm and the repetition becomes a rhythm. And then the rhythm then lets us uh, flow into stage 6, which is flow. So that's where your actions and your values begin to align, and you're no longer surviving the thing that you're trying to accept. You are starting to live inside the thing that you're trying to accept. So thanks for joining me today, and I will talk to you tomorrow for stage 6.